the last Grand Prix could be called the chaotic Grand Prix or the best Grand Prix of the season, at least right now. I'm Nina, welcome to Vermunda Lula, and today I'm gonna talk about Canadian Grand Prix. On Tuesday, we have the announcement of Checo Perez being renewed for Red Bull. At the moment, was said there was 2 years contract. During the Grand Prix weekend, we discovered that actually is a 1+1 year contract. On Thursday, we had media day, nothing that really caught my attention, so let's jump already for Friday. For practice 1, we had a delay of 21 minutes because of a rainstorm. Mercedes posted some videos and photos about how excited George and Lewis was with the rain, and it's so funny. They are British and they were so excited with the rainstorm. It was so fun for me. I think that this free practice that happened that you can consider like a highlight would be we have a yellow flag that after turned to be a red flag because of Joga New. Besides that, they have to practice on a wet track. Was everything calm, everything was going great. FP2, the most memorable things was one with Ferrari and one with Red Bull Racing. This weekend, Ferrari decided there was a good idea to test the heart of the Tifosi, because on free practice 2, we started with Ferrari making a mistake. The free practice started, they let Carlos go with a normal tire. I believe it was a medium one or a hard one, I can remember by heart. But they hold Charles for a little bit and they put intermediate tires. There is the intermediate tire is a tire for medium rain. It's when it's not a strong rain, and they let him go. Just a few minutes later, Charles received a radio from Brian, his engineer, saying go back to the box. He tried to understand why and if he had something wrong, what happened, and Brian wasn't given an answer, always saying go back to the box, go back to the box. And okay, he went. In the transmission, there is a lot of speculations what could have happened. Ferrari put intermediate tires before the FIA decided that yet the track was wet. The directors of the Grand Prix declared that the track was wet a little after he went to the track, just like 2 minutes after. So for that, Ferrari was fined in 5,000 euros. This was just the first fine that happened this weekend, and I really think that the party they do at the end of the year, a part of this party was paid on this Grand Prix. The other thing that happened that we can consider a highlight, kind of, but it's also a bad highlight. Verstappen had a problem in his car and was said there was an electric issue, and after was said we know kind of where the problem, but we have to go to the factory to be sure exactly where the exact point it is. On the radio, Verstappen said he could sense the smoke, so they go to the garage. They were a little afraid to touch the car, but they could touch the car. They made work, and was kind of a little scary. At first I thought it would be just like Australia, but they really seems a little more worried than what they were in Australia. On Saturday, we have the free practice. After 5 minutes that the free practice 3 has started, Joe Guanyu crashed between turn 1 and 2. After that, everything was normal, so half an hour before the qualifying was announced that Yuki Tsunoda had his contract extended with Visa Cash App for 2025. it's sad that it's only 1 year, but at the same time, it's maybe better. Maybe he can get a better place next year, somewhere that really take him more serious. Because there was a part of me that had hope that he would get a seat at Red Bull Racing. At the same time, I knew he wouldn't get a seat there, but qualifying, Q1 was very calm. Q2, Ferrari. You were testing your heart this weekend. I know for sure that was. There is a little time I started questioning, this is Fred's Ferrari or this is Mattia 2022 Ferrari. I was a little confused. I was not a fan of F1 at the time, but I studied about it. Oh my gosh, how I was mad with this, because both Ferraris were out in Q2. Everything was going smoothly, but the high point of Q3 was George and Verstappen with the same time, but George made the time before, so he got the pole. Racing day, a little before the race, there is the anthem, and Yuki was late for the anthem, and when a driver is late, he is fined. Tsunoda was fined 10,000 euros because he was late. The race start, everyone was in intermediate tires, except the both has that they were with wet tires. A little after this started with FIA penalized Ricardo because he got himself 5 seconds penalty because of a false started. This race was beautiful. It started when, then it stopped, and started, and stopped, and started, and it stopped, and we have two beautiful overtakes. One from Lando Norris that overtake Max Verstappen and George Russell, and one from Albon that overtake Ricardo and Ocon. Sargent went out of the track twice before he spun and crashed the car in DNF. This was the first DNF of Williams in this GP. The other moment, the Ferrari test our hearts. Leclerc's Ferrari had a problem in the engineering. They even restarted the car when he was speeding. It was a bad call because he was with intermediate and they put hard tires. He went to the track and said, it's not going well, it's better if or change. The idea of Ferrari was the rain will stop soon, so you go 2 laps with the hard tires, everyone will have to pit and we will already be on track. Yeah, it didn't work, so he had to pit again, put intermediates, but that part was so sad because the car was so bad that he was like more than 1 minute to Joe, that was the last place before him, and if I'm not mistaken was the 4 or 5 first of the race passed to him, and then Ferrari made a radio saying to retire the car for the race. Ferrari had a problem with the engine of Leclerc's car in Monaco. I think they changed. In P1 was bad and P2 they changed. What happened was in Imola they put a new power unit on the car, and when they were using the same power unit on Monaco, they realized there was something wrong, and then they put the Miami one on the car and everything was great. He won. Started questioning myself. This power unit that was in the car in Canada was the Imola or the Miami one, because maybe the problem is they already knew the problem and they decided to use anyway. I don't know, maybe I'm just get confused and was another problem involving this part of the car. I don't know, but it's something to question. Another thing that I also start to get a little mad with Ferrari was Ferrari always screw Charles Leclerc when he is the P2 on the Drivers' Championship. That happened in 2022. That happened in Japan. He was the P2, and they made he changed positions with Carlos. I have strong opinions about that. He become P3 and Checo become P2. This time he did not lose his P2 in the driving championship, but it's for like, I think it's 8 points. And they also risking Ferrari P2 in the constructor championship. So yeah, Ferrari, you're trying so hard to be bad this week. Paris spun and crashed the car, and he was able to get to the garage, but some pieces of his wearing were in the track, so the FIA penalized him with 3 positions on the grid of next race that will be in Barcelona, and he was fined in 25,000 euros. And this was the last fine of the weekend. So yeah, the party of the end of the year will be great. Only on this weekend they raised 4,000 euros in fine. I think the last big fact that happened in this race was about Sainz. Sainz was not doing great on this Grand Prix. I sincerely didn't know if he also had a problem in his car, but was not doing great anyways. And in a moment, he spun, and when he spun, crashed into Albon, and Albon go to the wall, and Carlos was in the middle of the track. He was able to go back to the garage. Yeah, it was sad. So both Ferraris DNF and both Williams DNF. So let's talk about karma now. This is a joke. It's not to be shady or anything like that, but it's something that even Lando Norris said in an interview, that in Miami he had a help from the safety car to win, and in this weekend the safety car gave a little help to Max Verstappen to win. Now, just let's put 2 thoughts that I had after I made my notes. One is Ferrari has a serious problem with cold, because in Japan was not that cold, was not raining that much, but the car was not 100%, but so the weather was okay, so the car was okay. On China, the weather was a little more cold, we had a little bit of rain, and the car was high because Ferrari had made a good car this year, but was not like we see on the past and we can see now there was a weekend with a lot of rain and cold, and the car was not going that well. A little bit of problem with strategic, a little bit of problem with the cars, and we could see Mercedes has a good race when it's a little more cold or rainy. We could see they had a good race in China. Lewis was P2 in the spring race. Now in Canada they also have a good race. George was P3 and Lewis was P4. And now let's talk about something that let me really angry. Was about Oscar Piastri. There is a moment the engineer on the radio said if he thought he could pass Verstappen, and he said something like, not now, I'm trying to resolve my situation with Russell because he and Russell was competing for P3. There was this Brazilian people from a really good and big website that talk about motorsports that had me really mad, especially one in particular that said Oscars with this answer says to him that he's not ready to be a champion. He's not a F1 driver. And I think this is so stupid and left me so angry, because it's not like Oscar was close to Lando for he could pass Lando hold George for Oscar be able to try to overtake Verstappen. So that was so stupid, and that made me so mad. Oh my gosh. And if McLaren thought that idea was really, really possible, they wouldn't have asked Oscar to do that. They had said, Oscar, do this. Lando, let Oscar pass and do it. So stupid. Talk about he is not strong enough because he said his answer. He is not good enough for F1. He is not good enough for be a champion. And okay, I will stop here because this let me really, really angry. And that's it. That's what happened. Now the next Grand Prix will be in Barcelona, and we have a lot to talk about Barcelona. So subscribe to not lose the next video. Give a thumbs up for help the video, and share with friends. Let a comment if you have a little different point of view of me. If you are polite, there is no problem. If you send bad things, yes, I will probably delete your comments. Anyways, so see you soon.